What's up guys, my name is Soulless Baby, and today I want to do a review of the Striker Surehand. That's the new sword that's coming out with the black armory, the one that we just got this week, Ada's new weapon that she can give us. I spent a lot of time testing this sword because a friend of mine got a really awesome roll on it, so I went about grinding out my own, getting the right perks on it and all that stuff. I actually got 3 swords that I wanted to test, and I ended up getting all 3 of them that I wanted, so that was really cool. It started to get a little unpleasant when I actually started testing this thing because it's throwing off some really strange numbers, and I believe there's a few glitches in how this thing works, but overall it's a fantastic weapon, and if you get the right rolls and do the right things to it, it's a fantastic thing that you should be using against bosses and majors and stuff like that. It's rivaling DPS of things like the Sleeper and the Ikelo shotgun and all that stuff, so let's jump into the numbers here. I said I wanted to test 3 swords, and I did. The first one I called really the base sword. It's got no damage increasing perks, nothing like that. The next one was a sword with Whirlwind, which is where if you hit consecutive rapid hits, your damage is supposed to increase. And the last one I got was Surrounded. Surrounded increases your damage whenever you are surrounded, so it's fantastic. I love it. The 2 with the perks, Whirlwind and Surrounded, I modded to be the best that I thought that they could be. One with Whirlwind I modded for boss damage, and the one with Surrounded I wanted with Surrounded spec. I made them as good as you could because you're not going to have these swords and not run those mods on them, right? I wanted to test how this would really work in the wild with the correct setups. Now the base sword I left as my control test, didn't do anything to it, and I got some really surprising numbers. Now I want to preface all this by saying I am the same light in all of these videos. The swords are the same light in all of these videos. The impacts of these swords are the exact same in all of these videos. And the numbers are completely different. So let's starting off with the base sword here. No damage increasing perks. With a regular hit, it does 3,119 damage. So that's an R1 swing. That's how much damage it does. On a heavy shot, total, it does 7,089. Not too bad. So that gives you a total damage output if you were just hitting R1 over and over again of 112,284. A total damage that if you were just swinging it with heavies at 85,086. So you're actually going to do more damage over the long term if you just do those light attacks over and over and over again. Now, the difference between those 2 numbers is that you can deal the damage a lot faster with the heavy attacks than you can with the light attacks, which sounds counterintuitive, but it takes about 1 second to swing your heavy attack and start another one, whereas it takes 2 seconds to be able to get through 3 full swings and swing 3 full times again with your light attacks. So the fastest DPS that you can have is with the heavy attacks, but the most damage over an extended period of time is with the light attacks. So the DPS on the base sword, as long as I've calculated everything out correctly, is 7,089. Not too bad, not too shabby. To give you an idea, the Ikelo shotgun without trench barrel is 8,982 damage per second. With the nerf and everything, the way trench barrel has worked, go look at Enroar's video on this. It's a really in-depth review about how the shotgun works right now, and that really gives you a good comparison of these 2 things. Now, the total damage with Ikelos without trench barrel is 52,983. With trench barrel, it's 79,443, and it takes 12.75 seconds to deal out all that damage. With this sword, it also takes about 12 seconds to deal out all the damage you can if you've got 36 swings with the sword, as opposed to 40 that you would have if you didn't have one of the perks that makes these swords awesome. Moving on, we got the sword with Whirlwind. This one does 3,049 damage with a 5 stack of Whirlwind, so less than with the base sword that has no damage increasing perks. Per heavy shot, 6929, also less than the base sword. Total damage on just R1 swings, 109,764. Total damage with heavy, 83,149. And the same amount of time is being dealt, just like you would be with the other swings and everything. The DPS on this sword is 6929. So again, less than you had with the base sword. So something's broken with Whirlwind here. It seems like the more you stack it, the less damage you're actually doing, which is counterintuitive to the way the perk reads, but I tested this over and over and over again on this same poor ogre right here and got the same results. I'm not sure what's going on here, but the numbers don't lie, guys. The damage values are going down, even though the sword has the same impact with better perks. It's doing less damage. Last but not least, I tested the sword with Surrounded, because that's pretty much the role that you want. Surrounded with Assassin's Blade does the most damage. I didn't get into Assassin's Blade because it was just too many variables to test, but with Surrounded, it did 4,210 damage per shot. Now this is with the Surrounded spec, like I said, and with a boss spec on the Whirlwind, so they're comparing the two here. 4,210 damage per shot, 9,569 damage per heavy swing, 151,560 total damage with R1s, and 114,828 damage with heavy attacks. That does 9,569 damage per second. That is only 500 damage difference from the Sleeper Stimulant on each one of its bullets. So you can do more damage with this sword with Surrounded than you can with a full 13 shots of Sleeper Stimulant. Now this is with 36 rounds, 36 swings rather, and not with any sword reserve increasing perks, and it's lowering it down to the less ammo that you can have with the sword, which is 36. So whatever I actually came to notice was when I masterworked this thing, because I wanted to show the difference between the regular base Surrounded sword versus the sword decked with the Impact Masterwork. I masterworked it, and lo and behold, it did 7,645 damage per heavy swing. That is almost 2,000 damage less than when it wasn't masterworked. Now I know what you're thinking, I did something wrong, but trust me guys, I spent hours and hours and hours swinging at this ogre over and over again, and you can see it on screen here. This is the same sword, it's just masterwork now. The only difference is that I've pumped so many masterwork cores into this thing and made it masterwork, and I've wasted it and now ruined this sword that was a beast. Because now the damage per second values has dropped to 7,645 versus the 9,569. My total damage has gone down. So what I'm seeing here is that it's broken. There's no other way that I can think about this thing other than it's not doing its job correctly. There are bugs with this sword. Whirlwind isn't working right, and apparently neither is the Masterwork. I don't know what's up. I can't figure out why it's doing it. So if you have any helpful insights, please enlighten me, because I've been pulling my hair out trying to get this thing to work correctly. But from everything I'm seeing and from the tests that I've done, don't Masterwork this thing. Put a Surrounded spec on your Surrounded sword mods, and junk anything with Whirlwind because it makes it a trash sword. Other than that, it's a fantastic weapon, and it out-damages most other things that we have, and it frees up an exotic slot for you because it's just a legendary weapon, and the thing's really easy to farm. Apparently the Surrounded roll is super easy to get, or it's the curated roll, I'm not sure, but it drops all the time. Little tidbit though, the curated rolls for the forges don't always have to drop masterworked. You can get them and not be masterworked, and they seem to be fairly common drops on that one as well. So if you have any questions about this thing, please leave a comment under this video. I have no problem going very in depth about how I tested this, so if you have any questions, just hit me up. Like this video if it's giving you any helpful insight to not waste your masterwork cores on this, but just use it as a base sword. Subscribe to my channel for more in-depth tests. This was actually really fun to do, so I plan on doing a whole lot more of these. So with that said, guys, have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.